بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم and Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I hope everybody can hear me loud and clear.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Prof. Inshallah, we will start our session today, and I will start with an introduction. So, just one second. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim and Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh and good morning. It's my pleasure to welcome you all to today's online workshop, The Art of Research. My name is Dr. Muhammad Salah from the Department of Management, Faculty of Business Administration, Al Sharqiya University, and it's my pleasure to moderate today's session. I would like to thank the Learning Resource Center at Al Sharqiya University for organizing this valuable workshop, and I also would like to thank all participants for joining us today through Zoom. Before we begin, I kindly ask everyone to keep their microphone muted during the presentation. You are welcome to write your question in the chat, and we will have time for discussion at the end of the session. Today's topic is very important because research is not only about writing papers or collecting data. Research is about how we think, about how we ask meaningful questions, how we build evidence, and how we can turn an idea into knowledge that can benefit society. We are truly honored and blessed to have with us Professor Hussein A. Kazem from Suhar University. Professor Hussein holds a PhD from Newcastle University in the United Kingdom. He is currently a professor at Suhar University and the UNESCO RCQE Chair in Emerging Renewable Energies and Sustainable Energy Technologies. He also served as a visiting professor at UKM and UNITEN universities in Malaysia. Professor Hussein has more than 30 years of academic and research experience. His research focus on photovoltaic system, solar thermal energy, renewable energy, power electronics, power equality, and electrical power system. His academic record is truly distinguished. He has published more than 300 scientific papers in journals and conferences, and also have delivered 70 invited talks, author 9 book chapters, and 8 books, and hold 3 patents. His research impact is also widely recognizable. He has been included for 7 consecutive years in the list of the world top 2% scientists published by Stanford University and Elsevier. And he has an astonishing H index of 79. In addition, he has received several national and international awards, including awards from the World Renewable Energy Congress, IEEE, and the Malaysian Technology Expo. What makes his presentation especially valuable today is that he is not only a highly published scholar, but he also someone who understands the full research journey, from developing an idea to building a research problem, choosing the right method, publishing in a strong journal, and building a sustainable academic profile. Professor Hussein, thank you so much for joining us online today. We are pleased and honored to have you with us. Dear colleagues and participants, please join me in warmly welcoming Professor Hussein. Professor Hussein, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much, Dr. Muhammad, for introducing me, and thank you for BASMA organizing this and having me in Al Sharqiya University. It's my pleasure also to talk to our colleagues in different places in Oman, outside Oman, and to the postgraduate students, our dear postgraduate students. The title of the workshop is The Art of Research and the Art in Research. In fact, it was a training program I usually used to deliver it to higher education institute for 5 continuous days to make sure enhance research in an institute. People from academic staff, postgraduate, undergraduate participate in this training program. And in this workshop, as it is 1 hour, part of it will be question at the end. So I try to highlight the important points here, and also I will make part of the workshop to talk about the publishing, how we publish before, during, and after publishing, what we need to do. So research, the art of research and the art in research. The talk will be the concepts, principles, type of research, critical component, and the other part is publishing process, peer review, post publication, which is more interested for both postgraduate student and academic staff. And at the end, I will conclude with some advices. Uh, uh, So let me start the workshop with this question: is research a science or an art? Because I mean, you know the title, art of or in research. And actually, early in my career, as example, and I expect that this is general for all postgraduate students, that they ask themselves, is the research or even the publishing from research is skills, procedure we need to follow, or it's a talent, or both of them? So let me say, it's mix of them actually, and a perspective is there in research. As example, if you look to this photo, I mean, different perspective could describe this photo. You can say it is a glass of water, 80% filled with water, 20% empty. The circle, upper circle, lower circle are not the same dimension. So we can have different perspectives. Research coming from different perspectives. For that, I usually always advise groups of research or even the researchers to work multidisciplinary, to have more engage with people from different specialties. This will add a lot to their research and make it to grow, because we need different opinion, different mindsets. And I give example about the way how we need to handle research. We need to think in different way. As example, this is a park somewhere in the west. You know that they drive to the right, so their park always to the left. You can't see the right hand side is empty, because people mindset in one direction, most of them. And the opposite happen here. And you go to the park, you find the right hand side filled by cars, vehicles, and the other left side is empty, because people think in one direction. So the point here is we need to think differently. For research, think differently. I mean, don't say that, oh, my idea is crazy, it will not work. No, we need to think in a crazy way. Otherwise, we will follow the same trend. We will not come up with something new. So to conclude this point is research is both structured and creative. So we need to have talent and we need to have the skills both together. So how ideas are born? I mean, usually research, whatever it is, if it is coming from study, undergraduate or postgraduate, or if it is a researcher doing research born when there is needs, when there is a problem, when there is challenge, okay, which is supposed to include observations. We observe whatever the problem or the phenomenon, and frustration. We keep looking to challenge and the problems, and curiosity. We will keep asking question, why not? Example from my field, which is solar photovoltaic, mainly solar energy. Why PV efficiency dropping? Why is there is much dust accumulation in our region? Why not we cool and clean the same at the same time? So always we need to ask questions, and it doesn't mean that we will answer all of them in our research, but at least we keep put questions. This is the motivation for research, okay? And think differently. Interdisciplinary idea. From my experience, I can say that most of the let me say, work that get credit coming from a team with multidisciplinary, let me say, fields. I mean, their way of thinking, their specialties, because the input will be different, which come up with something new. The other issue, we need to combine existing, let me say, concepts, use different concepts. Variety in the methods, in the approaches, in the techniques will add a lot to research. So different discipline, share purpose, extraordinary solution will come up with. The other issue is creating creativity tools. Why if, let ask, why if always, what if PV panel could cool themselves? I mean, it could be crazy. But let us this sort of a question. Reverse thinking. I mean, if people think to solve a problem in one direction, think in the opposite. What will happen? Okay, take it from the like reverse engineering and simplification. One of the let me say the feature of today technology and research is they look to simplification rather than complication. This is very important, and we don't need to complicate the method that will solve the problem. Let's simplify it. This is a novelty. This is a talent. And the other issue could be highlighted here besides simplification is the variety of techniques and application. It's better that the solution serve more people, serve more applications. This is make your work more worthily. So if we would like to say about the research and discipline with rule and structure, yes, novelty, rigor, and impact. And always impact is important. So my advice to young researcher, think about the impact of your research. How many people it will serve? Okay, how your work will change the life, will change the world in terms of changing, let me say, industry, serving community, society, policy, changing policy, and so on. Now, for research cycle, research is a cycle. I mentioned that it's born when there is need, when there is a problem, when there is challenge. Okay, so we need to identify research area based on this problem, or the problem we have, and design research study and carry out research, analyze research results, and publishing research results. This is what happened in academia. But within which one of these circles, there are many, let me say, point with details need to be discussed. Okay. Or before I go to highlight a few points very important to the postgraduate system particularly, I would like to say that, yeah, we have a problem which motivate us to do research, to conduct research. But we need to define the problem in very precise and accurate way. Because based on the problem, what we call it a problem statement, everything will be built. Okay. I mean, as example, you have a problem statement, then you go to put your theoretical, let me say, question or driven questions. And based on equation, you will build your objectives. And based on the objective, you make a scope, then you go to the methodology, and then you start the body of the research, literature review, gap, novelty, analysis, let me say. If there is experimental, you put the system, the description of the system. If there is simulation, you do the simulation. Theoretical study, you do the theoretical, and then some of them maybe mix of these, and then you come up with the results. You discuss them, you analyze them, you conclude them, you put the future recommendations. It's like a complete cycle and circle. We need to go through it, but we need to give weight for each one of them. As example, my advice to postgraduate students, when you write your problem statement, learn how to write your problem statement correctly. Go to YouTube, Google it, learn the techniques, how we can write a clear, okay, and attractive problem statement. I mean, some students will find them, they write, let me say, 6-7 pages for problem statement, which is not right. It's more focused, supposed to be more focused. So in this cycle, there are a lot of information we can cover, but because of limited time, I would like to highlight 3 of them. I think they are very useful for researcher and for postgraduate student. These are on the level of problem statement. It could be weak, written in a weak way. So anybody read it, he don't feel that there is a problem statement here. There is a problem. It's well known. Nothing new to trigger this research. I will give example later on. The other issue is no clear contribution. You know, researchers do literature survey. And when they do their literature survey, they want to come up with a research gap or the novelty or the contribution of their work. So there is techniques, there is methods the student need to learn. It's there available. There are different websites, platform train you how to do or conduct literature survey. Because when you say this is a research gap, this is a novelty, this is a contribution to the field, you need to prove it. It's just not matter of your opinion. There is ways. I advise the postgraduate to learn how they approve their research gap. And the last one is by the way, these are my observation through the years I spent in academia and working with students on different levels. The other issue is poor validation. Usually validation coming at the end of the research, if it is a project, if it is for industry, if it is academic project, research thesis for under or postgraduate students. So it's coming at the end to validate their results. There is also techniques and methods. The student, they don't give much attention to these techniques, to the validation. My advice, no. I mean, put your effort to show that your results in line with what is available in literature. Give it the weight it deserves. So let me give you example about weak research question. Okay, here. How can renewable energy be improved? You can see it's weak in terms of it's too broad, not context, no measurable outcome. But see the other better example. How can hybrid PVT system with passive cooling improve electrical efficiency under high temperature condition in Oman? See, in terms of problem, method, and contribution, this is more attractive. It's a specific system, which is PVT. The problem is defined and the condition. We're talking about the passive cooling and the condition in Oman, and the measurable outcome, which is the efficiency. So make it avoid to have such mistakes when you write your questions or problem statement, even also the objectives. Now, next is research methodology. Research methodology, simply, if we want to define it, we will say that it is like the methods or the plan that we put to make sure that we're gonna meet our objectives. Any research have objectives. So how we gonna meet our objective? This is very important. You meet like plan, okay, sequence. And by the way, this is very useful for other researchers when they come up later and they read your research. They know how they can replicate your work, and you prove in advance that if they flow the same way, they can meet such objectives. And as you know, research could be quantitative, qualitative, descriptive, analytical, applied, fundamental, exploratory, conclusion, survey, case studies. And I advise you for postgraduate students to Google them to see the difference between them and to know your work fell within which area. It could be a mix of them. So research methodology is the steps we follow to make sure that that we are going to meet our objective. I will give example from one of our postgraduate student graduated. He conducted his research in 2016, and I tried to take a screenshot for the figures from chapter 3, which is about research methodology. And I will not explain it, but just have a look at the caption here. Nanomaterial. His work is about cooling and enhancing the efficiency of photovoltaic thermal system using nano fluid and nano PCM. It was at that time a new branch open in the science, and researchers follow his work. But see here, figure 3.1. He put like structure how he should go through the nanomaterial preparation method. And the other one is the procedure of preparing nanofluid, nano PCM. The other one is how he gonna analyze the work. And the other one is the whole process of the research methodology. You can see the first box include the previous 3 figures. And then how we will go through the steps until he reach the results and its discussion. And at the end, he put like a plan and the steps how he go to model his work using artificial neural network. So this is what I mean, because you can see as example in undergraduate students, they have the same typical research methodology they put, and it's available everywhere in the net. that problem statement objectives and their literature review, experimental results and discussion. This is not research methodology. It's well known, the process. We want a detailed research methodology. We can say at the end, we met our objective. So this is very important. The other point is the critical components. You know, research supposed to have a purpose. For postgraduate students, they want to solve problem to go through their research to get higher degree, master or PhD. For academic research, I mean, there are different reasons. So we need to put purpose for research, and then we need to put the problem statement, and based on it, we build our research questions. We put assumptions. Okay, no research can include all parameters. We're supposed to have assumptions. Then this means that there is a scope. Sampling methods and data collection method to be clarified at the beginning so people know how you get your data. And then you put research methodology, as I mentioned earlier, that we need to know the steps until we reach our objectives, met our objectives. And then quality criteria and report writing. These are the last final points. Don't rush when you want to write your work, to put it in a thesis on a paper, research paper. Take your time. Yeah, you be maybe motivated that you are close to the end of the journey, but this is very important one because this will specify your work could be marketed, could be sold or not, as I will explain in publications. The other issue is component of research paper. Let me now go a little bit to the publications. Okay, your postgraduate students, because it's part or requirements for them to publish paper, and even the academic staff, part of their needs or requirement for promotion is to publish papers. So when you come to publish paper, there is checklists you need to go through them. Cover page, give it attention, give it, I mean, there some today several journals and publisher, they want the cover page to be in particular way, to include 1, 2, 3, 4. So make sure it's including them, and don't write cover page with 3, 4 pages because the editors will not read them. Be focused, direct to the point. And then you make your paper according to the journal requirement, at least according to the general flow of any research paper. Okay, the body, the section, subsection. Don't go to the, let me say, general information because everybody know them. I mean, people who read your paper, they are in the field, so they need directly to go to the point. And you go through the paper and to make sure that you did not miss any requirement by the publisher of the journal. Again, to the problem statement. Problem statement suppose to be lack of studies in the field, or not done locally, or factor not considered, or limited samples considered. It depends, and definitely the level of problem statement could be low in undergraduate, but supposed to be high in postgraduate. We are solving something, reflect on the life, on industry, on policy, on technology, on equipment. So we need to make sure that the problem statement is motivating to go through this research. And start when you write the problem statement from the general to the specific field to the technique, and from the top to the low, let me say, or to the specific problem. Now, let me go a little bit to the art in research. Art in research, okay? There is a lot to be said. As I mentioned, this is a training program in 5 days. So in each element of the research, there is much art in that research. Could be discussed, examples could be given, tasks could be done together and with a discussion and brainstorming. But here I will try to focus mainly on figures, results, your student results, because what happens is the student, they spend much effort in preparing, let me say, their experimental setup or simulation. But when it comes to the results themselves, showing or presenting their results lack a lot of, let me say, important features. I give example. Usually students, they present their results as a figures. Put your effort in preparing the figure in the best way. I mean, it's the same results, but you can put them in a good way, or you keep them in a way that not attracting neither the editor or the reviewer, and if it get published, the readers. So make sure I give examples here from some figures from papers published in important journals like Nature or other journals. You can see one of these figure here. I don't know if the cursor appear in when I'm moving it. You can see these figures. See the caption, how simple here for y-axis, for x-axis, the font size, type, color, even the scale. They select them carefully. They change the scale 10, 200, 100, 200, 300, or 50 scale, or 200 scales. Always they change to make sure which one reflect better on the message sent by this figure to the reader easily, okay, and professionally. Also using the curves, the color over the curves, the type of the curve is dotted or sold, or let me say marked with markers, and so on. See the other graph here, to the nearby graph here. You can see he added also the author some photos inside the graph to explain his idea. Or even see the three-dimensional figure here. How beautiful is the figure to represent the results. Believe me, they spent much time in preparing this figure to make sure that it attracts the editor, the reviewers, and even also the readers. See the colors, the arrows, the direction, even the symbols they use, so they can send easily the message in a good way to others. And always we need to think about the figures in a way that we do or we don't. Okay, it depends. I mean, as example, you have X and Y, a table. You want to plot these results. How you plot them? Line graph, polyline graph, bar chart, pie chart, let me say combined. What is the best way? Histogram. What is the best way to show your results? And even the color, the size, the legend. You see here as example these two figures there, two samples, and the left with different colors. Okay, imagine these are just 5. Imagine if they are 10 or 20. I mean, it's misleading. We cannot understand what he want to say here. Or even here, he makes shadow like a shadow in gray, but and only the targeted curve he put it here, but still the figures did not have enough to show x-axis and y with no caption. Okay, so we need to make sure that we put our figures in a good way. See, this is another graph with several data. I cannot understand it because it's have a lot of information. It is not right to plot it using pie chart. Or this one even. You can see how many line graph here. How can the reader or anybody would like to read your work understand what you want to say? Even if you want to target one of these curves, it's difficult to follow, I mean, to see it. So avoid, let me say, excessive in showing results and the way how you show your results. I will give here 9 examples about the wrong way to show your results. Okay, please take it in consideration when you write your thesis or research paper. See here, wrong chart type selection, because you can see here, I cannot understand, they are mixed, these curves. The message will not receive easily. Or here, as example, three-dimensional bar chart. See some of the bar charts behind, you cannot see them. You cannot filter the message here in this graph. Or even this one, frequency of exercise. I mean, the message is difficult to tell here. The story is not clear here. Or misleading pie chart here, the curve. Okay, without numbers. I don't know. I mean, which one is good or not good, or I mean, which one I should target, which one I take or leave, or thoughtless use of color. Sometimes students use color. My advice is to use color in a wise way to send a message, but using noisy colors like noisy makeup, it will not send the right message. So it's better to keep it the black and white rather than go for colors if there is no message sent through colors. Or inappropriate use of three-dimension. Three-dimension, suppose two-dimension or three-dimension, okay? Some people like to present their work in three-dimension. They feel attractive, but it gives a wrong message, and there is no need to go for it. Right? As example here, pie chart. You see here, pie chart. The three dimension for four pieces. You can see the red and the green show that they are more because there is another part added to the share while it's supposed to be less. Also, truncated y-axis. The scale of y-axis. Make sure you selected in the right way, because as example here, they did not start from zero. Directly from they reduced the size between 592 to 596. You see two bars with different high differences, while the difference is very small because he simply changed or select the wrong scale for the y-axis. Or sometimes creating a misleading scale, like they're supposed to be, I mean, these figures supposed to be in different, I mean, R is higher in size than the right and left figures. Or overlapping. I mean, we will receive much results from experimental and simulation, or if it's theoretical from our research. It's not necessary to show all these results. Select the best of them, the direct and the specific one, which prove your point. Don't show everything, especially when it get mix of results. Now, after I finish this part, I would like to talk a little bit about publishing process, and then I will conclude. Publishing process, it's a process starting from completing manuscript. And to complete the manuscript, you already did your work, your research, you have results, you discuss them, and then you are targeting a journal, and you will select a journal fitting your paper. There is definitely platforms, and the publisher themselves today, most of them, they have this feature, help you to go to the right, let me say, journal, which is called Journal Finder in Elsevier, in Wiley, in Springer Nature, MDPI, even in Nature and other publishers. So it will give you several options. My advice, look to these options in details, because I mean, it's not a matter of they put them in a sequence, the first, the second, the third, and you go directly to the first, because there is a lot of information you need to filter before you select the paper. Don't waste your time sending the paper. It will stuck there for a long time and get rejected because it's not to the level of the journal or directly in the interest of the journal at that period of time. Or so several things need to be considered. You can see it give you, go to this journal also, have a look at these journals, see what type of journals they are: open access, subscribe, mix, hybrid, transform, and also look to the time it need to take a decision, look to the acceptance rate, and all these need, even the if it is a Q1, a Q2, Q3. I mean, today is a challenge to publish in a Q1 or a Q2. So if your paper not up to the level of these, let me say, Qs, so don't go for them. And by the way, I mean, there is a wrong message with the researchers that we should always target Q1 and Q2. You know, in 2015, 16, and 17, some of the papers published in got Nobel Prize. It's already published in Q3 and 4. So Q3, 4 is not, I mean, low level of, no. It's not like this. I mean, at the end, it's already accredited because of Scopus. It's entered the Scopus database or Clarivate database already up to the level. So don't stick with the Q1 and the Q2, especially I'm talking to postgraduate students. And when you go to submit your paper, definitely I advise to read the guidelines for author. These publisher journals, they put them there. Even for academic who already publish in one journal, I advise you, when you go next time to publish in the same journal, have a look at their guidelines, because they improve it. They add some clauses, the close statement, and they change from time to time their, let me say, directions. Also look to the published papers within the last 12 months, or sometimes they advise 18 months, to make sure that still there is interest in the topic you are working in, because the editorial board, they change their interest from time period to period. So make sure that there is interest. Don't take problem already extensively conducted by researchers maybe 20 years back and say, okay, it is in the field, let me publish in this journal. No, it has been changed with time. Okay, so go to the guide of author, have a look at them, even if you are familiar with the journal. So again, check for journal ranking. This is the submission process. Index, check for journal scope. We want to make sure for indexing that our paper up to the level, and the scope, within the scope. And see, the publication time could not fit you, because some students, there is a requirement to graduate, they have to publish 1 or 2 articles in Scopus. If the, let me say, review process is long, then definitely this is not helpful. So let's look for less time taken by review of the paper. Instruction for author, you have to look at them, upload the document, check the document, make sure that everything in place, and then you go for submission. Now, when you submit, what will happen next? The editor will receive it. The first critical stage is the editor. If it is passing the editor and going to the review, this is very important stage. Now, the top journals, and an editor in more than 22 Scopus index journals, some of them Q1, and I learned a lot as editor when I was author or even reviewer, how the editor think. I don't have an idea how we think, but when I became editor and I trained on this, take courses with Elsevier, then I found that there are many points I've been missing. Okay, how the editor think in my paper, how he see my paper. And inshallah, on May, I will. I'm invited to in what we call it, meet editor in an event in UTAS Muscat, middle of May, to talk with the academic staff as editor. They will ask a question about you as editor, how you deal with this point. Besides, today, in the era of AI, most of the publishers, the top publishers, they put features for editor help them. As example, it help them directly. It tell the editor that this paper in the scope of how much it is in the scope of the journal, 10%, 20, 40, 50, 60. Okay. Similarity, it's not only similarity report or plagiarism, no, also similarity on authors, on names, on let me say abstract, on title, and there are several things the editor, when he go to screen your paper, he need to consider. So if you know how the editor think, then definitely that will save time and make your, let me say, the opportunity is higher and higher and get your paper published. And then it go to reviewers. They take their time. You need to be patient with the reviewers, because this is a volunteer work. They have other tasks, and you cannot rush, you cannot push the process. It take time until it get published. So it is author submission, then editor, then reviewer, first round. By the way, in each stage, your paper could be rejected for a reason, definitely. Okay? Until it gets accepted by the reviewer, the editor take a decision and then accept the paper. It go for production, publication, and so on. One other issue I would like to highlight is the type of peer review. The journal are different in their way of peer review. I'm around to close, Dr. Muhammad. So I didn't expect that I will take this much time. Okay. I mean, you need to know the type
Take
of...
your time, Prof. Take your time, please.
Thank you very
enjoying
much.
this.
Thank you very much. The peer review, it's different from journal to journal, publisher to publisher. Some of them single blind. I mean, the author double blind or open review. It means sometimes the author is hidden, so the reviewer, they don't know. Sometimes the reviewer also, let me say, only the editor know Who's the author? Who's the reviewers? Sometimes it's open, both of them, they know each other. Sometimes the author known by the reviewer because their name is there. And sometimes the authors know the reviewers also, to whom not only the editor handles it. And sometimes it's put on platforms for a discussion and direct. And my advice for your paper, always send it to the expert to give you feedback before you send it to, because another eye is important here. Okay, after you get published, my advice is to do very important task. Many academic staff or postgraduate students, they miss it, which is what happened after my paper get published. That's it, it's published, it's online, I'm happy celebrating with my team. No, you try to market it. You see here, put it in a poster, participate in exhibitions, or even summarize the main achievement in a seminar or workshop or a conference. Talk to your colleagues in the faculty or the university, and also put information about the paper. Direct people to your paper in the platforms, example ResearchGate or any other platforms related to research. And also show the people where your paper published, hard copy or soft version. And even you can write about your results and your paper in the magazines or newspapers. And the other issue is search for close title to your paper to see who's working in the field. These people working in the field, they will be helpful, because what happens is you will search for a collaboration with others who's interested in your topic. Open doors to increase your team and make it more, let me say, attractive. Minds from different institutes and places. Search for the author names. Search for their emails. Contact them. Send them your paper. Ask them for a collaboration. And then you have collaborators working with you, and you grow with your research and with your team. And let me last two actually slides, and then I will shut up and then waiting your questions. Is paper versus impact research. Paper, I mean, we are looking as academic and as a researcher and postgraduate, undergraduate, to publish paper. Our focus here, yes, it is limited research, it is short-term visibility, but let's think about the impact. How my paper or my research influence policy, industry, how many people it served, what I left behind. So excellent in publish, impactful. Impact is purposeful. And the other issue is matrices of excellence. I can measure by several indicators, journals and publisher. It's available as indicators giving an idea about how your work make impact and effect for others. As example, citation, H-index, and other databases. Okay. The other issue. Okay. Okay. Let's leave from our work an impact on industry, on policy, on society, research that matters, a better world that lasts. And my advice, which is my conclusion, advices for students is focus on depth, not quantity. I mean, give it time. Give it time to whatever you are doing. Make it in the best way to offer to your supervisor or to the faculty or to the university. And read more than you write. Most people, I mean, in general, working in the field of research, I found that they execute or they work 80% and they think 20%. Make it opposite. Think 80%, work 20%. This is more effective. Okay. And read more. Read more, because you read more is reflected positively on your research. Less knowledge will not help. Choose the right supervisor. And this is very important, mentor or supervisor make change in your journey. So make sure you select the right one. For academic, my advice is build research identity. I mean, you spend 10, 20, 30 years in your field. Start build on, be patient and build on this. So whenever people say a topic, your topic, they say, oh, Dr. Muhammad Al-Azzawi, he's in this field. He have a wonderful contribution in the field. X, Y, Z. So you can see. So always build your identity in the field. So people, they know, don't jump from here or here. I advise, unless when you up to become a professor and a very important contributor, you have big team, you have research centers, you have collaborate with other people. Now you can contribute here and here, okay, a little bit to the far from your field, but at the beginning focus on one point, on one field. Collaborate strategically, okay. I mean, you will receive invitation for collaboration, okay. Try to think to collaborate with the people who close to you, who can add to you, you learn from them, and you can contribute to their research. Think beyond publication. Don't think that, oh, I need to publish because this is related to promotion, this is related to my place, my university or institute. No, think beyond this. How much my work left when I leave this world? What is the impact of my research? I joined Sahara University 24 years back. I learned to go to schools to talk with the students in primary school about the research in a simple way, to encourage them for science, encourage them for energy. This is impact. I mean, with time, these students came to the university and they remember what we've been talking 20 years prior. And success is a journey. You need to be patient. For students, I will conclude, stay curious, stay consistent, and never stop learning. The best is yet to come. And for academic, lead with purpose, inspire others, and create a legacy that outlives publications. Thank you. Mike, with you, Dr. Muhammad.
Thank you so much, Professor. Thank you so much for this wonderful presentation, for all this information that you have shared with us. And now I think it's time to open the floor if we have any questions. If anybody have any question, you can open your mic and ask Professor Hussein whatever you like. Let me see if there's questions in the chat. Anybody would like to ask a question?
مرحبا دكتور، أقول لك إيش هن أحسن مصادر يعني عشان للبحوث السابقة أو الدراسات السابقة، أشهرها وأوثقها.
Okay, can I answer, Dr. Muhammad?
Yes, Prof, please.
Okay,
please.
thank you very much. Okay, now you know when you do literature survey in your field, you are conducting research. You read other people work published before you. From this publication, you will know the people work in the field and the specific problem they conducted in their research and the publishers they publish with. So from here, you can know about where such work will be published in the future. For the best references and publishers, my advice always to focus on the accredited research published and which is recognized by Scopus or Clarivate. These are the two databases. Journals linked to these, or let me say accredited by these databases, are respectful, let me say, publishers and journals. So always look to Scopus and Clarivate. And make sure that if it is in Scopus, it's still in Scopus, because sometimes journals out of Scopus, so in 1 year or another. So make sure that it is still in Scopus.
Anybody have any question? I think now, it's my turn, Professor, to ask you a question if possible.
Please
Thank you so
go
much.
ahead.
Well,
Yeah.
I think as researchers, we have one of the biggest issue for us is actually novelty, Professor. Is how we make sure that we are novel. Yes, we are reading the latest paper, the best papers are possible, but we work as much as we can, and you know that the more we read, the better our paper is going to become. The thing is, always we get rejected, or a paper get delayed, is because reviewers or even the editors sometimes argue the concept of novelty. Now, of course, as researchers, we cannot make something, especially in the social sciences, we can't make something that's totally different. Maybe in your area, there's an experiment, there's always a new data. For us, is actually always it's trying to add something to theory. What do you think is the best way to approach this problem to ensure that you have some kind of novelty and you think there's a higher chance of acceptance?
Okay, really interesting question. Thank you, Dr. Muhammad. Now, we have three corners we need to consider for the novelty: the problem statement, the objectives, and the literature review. These are the very important. My advice always is to be simple, short, direct, precise. When you write, as example, problem statement, write it in these features, and make sure to show that there is a problem, and the objectives written in a way, reflecting the problem itself. But the most important one is the literature review. Literature review, we need to avoid describing other people's work, and that's it. Because this will not highlight the gap. To highlight the gap, we need to have results coming from literature survey, comparison, insight, figures, numbers, okay? And we let me say compare and criticize other people's work in terms of what is missed, how we can improve. A technique is already available, but there is lack, as example, in execution, in time, in region, in domain, in whatever it is, and we can fill this gap. So this will attract. Just description, literature survey will not help, will not
Yes.
prove that your idea or your novelty is clear and there is novelty.
Thank you so much, Prof. Just before we end and we go move to other questions, I just would like to highlight that we have one evaluation link where, if possible, that people will evaluate this workshop. And also, we're gonna Ms. Besma will submit a link to write your name so that you can get the certificate of attendance. Thank you so much, Prof. Thank you a lot. So we'll move to
Thank you.
a second question. We have someone meme asking, "Hello, doctor. I have one question. I am a graduate student. I'm too interested on research. So what is your advice for me? Shall I continue on research or leave it and find or work for or find a job?"
It's always our graduate, they are motivated to go for job to get, to see the effect of their study, to get money, to feel themselves, which is not wrong. But as a researcher, I always look to the research and always advise my students, don't miss research. It's something beautiful. It's a beautiful word, and you will enjoy it. Okay, and research brings several things. Bring work, bring mindset, vision, leadership. The more you are in research engaged, the more your word and will grow and it become beautiful. So definitely I advise you to make research the priority. Yeah.
Excuse me, doctor. May I ask a question?
Yeah,
Fadal,
please.
Prof.
Okay, so first of all, I would like to thank you for this interesting information that you give to us. For me, I'm Dr. Hamza from Sharqiya University. Just would like to ask you about the research gap. Actually, as we are researcher and academic, so we start from the special issues, or sometimes we read the opinion papers like multidisciplinary papers and so on to identify the research gap or the trend that we should write. For example, now the trend is agentic AI, but maybe for the next year we don't know which the trend that we have to focus on. So, based on your experience, uh, where we should start from, where to read, like special issues or like any specific papers, or like the way that you identify the trend or the research gap that you start your research. So thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. I mean, in literature survey, my advice always that we focus on published paper in high recognized journals, publishers and journals. That I mentioned in databases, Clarivator and Scopus, and definitely the more Q, the better paper. It means that the better quality is high. And then we also can go down to conference papers. We should avoid any websites as much as we can, because websites give the opinion of their owners, and as much as we should avoid, let me say, magazines and articles in newspapers, because this is an opinion of the author. Okay, I mean, without proof. So my advice to focus on high-ranked journals first, books published by well-known publishers. But when you do the literature survey, my advice to compare, to show the gap, to analyze. Usually, I advise my students, undergraduate or postgraduate, when they wrote their literature survey chapter, at the end, I want to see figures, line graph, polyline graph, bar chart, pie chart, with tangible numbers to prove your novelty, which is already extracted from the description of the literature and the tables built in the literature. In this way, the literature will be useful and highlight your, let me say, research gap. Yeah.
احسنت بروف. طبعا عندنا سؤال من مس بسمه الحبسي. طبعا مس بسمه احنا نشكرك على تنظيمك لهذه الوركشوب ودعوتك لنا، وانا حاقرا للبروف سؤالها لان سؤالها حقيقه كلش مهم. بروف حسين، ربما طلبه الدكتوراه يواجه بعض التحديات في مساله النشر لانهم مطالبين بالنشر لاجازه الرساله. طبعا هاي دكتور تتذكر احنا هم لازم تنشر يلا تتخرج.
صح.
ما اهم النصائح التي توجهها لطلبه الدراسات العليا كونها ربما تكون تجربه اولى للنشر؟ وحقيقه اكو هوايه دكتور، انا مسؤول برنامج الدكتوراه في جامعه الشرقيه وعندنا طلاب كثير يتساءلون هذا السؤال حقيقه. شكرا جزيلا مس بسمه، احسنتي.
شكرا. You want me to answer in Arabic, English?
عربي عادي دكتور، ماكو.
اوكي. بالحقيقه انه بالفعل النشر عقبه، يعني كثير من الطلبه يخلص شغله لكن يلقى نفسه دخل بدوامه توقيتات النشر، قد تاخذ 6 اشهر، سنه، اكثر، وهذا يعطله ما يقدر يتخرج. فلذلك يعني هذه فد عقبه كنت نفكر بها واحنا بدايات مشوارنا في البحث العلمي وفي الريسيرش. يعني خلي ببالنا انه اخلي الوقت الكافي للبيبر راح تنشر، لانه مو باليوم اللي اخلص البيبر اتوقع ثاني يوم تنشر، لا، راح تاخذ وقتها اكو بروسيس. الشغله الثانيه اللي ذكرناها احنا بالورك شوب، انه اخذ وقتك وقدم عمل بجوده عاليه. يعني انه البيبر يجب انه تراعي بيها متطلبات المجله، تراعي بيها طريقه تفكير الاديترز. البعض منهم اللي هو اوفر ثينكينج، يعني people ذولا يروحون حتى يبحث عن الاديترز اللي بالمجله وين اهتماماتهم وما اعرف ايش. طريقه الكتابه، كتابه البيبر يجب ان تراعي بيها كل المقاييس والمتطلبات، حتى الريفرنسز تأكد منها 100% أن مكتوبة بالصيغة، لا تغفل عن أي نقطة، لأنه البيبر من تنبعث الإديتر راح يسوي لها سكرينينج، وأي مس بارت مباشرة يسوي ريجكت. فنصيحة أنه انطي وقتك لكتابة البيبر. والنصيحة الثانية أيضا، لا نخلي دائما تفكيرنا أنه نقدم الكيو 1 أو الكيو 2. الكيو 3 و4 جيدة ترى، ما بها أي مشكلة، بالنتيجة هنا كلهن تحت المظلة مال السكوبس أو الكلاريفيت. فنحاول انه، لان الحين الكيو 1 اصبح تشالنج حقيقه، صعب من كثر البيبرز اللي تسلم للمجلات، النوفاليتي المطلوبه جدا عاليه، فلذلك الطالب قد يلقى ريجكشن من اكثر من بوبلشر. لا، خلي يعني نروح كيو 3 و4 اتس اوكي. يا
احسنت بروف، عاش يديك. عندنا سؤال الاستاذه فاطمه يقول excuse me, how can I publish or repost my research paper which has been published in a peer review journal through the official account of SU? I have Sohar University. Yes.
I catch it. I understand the
Yes.
question. Now, when you publish your paper, you sign a copyright And by the way, most people, they don't read the copyright. They directly sign and submit because they want to paper publish. And my
Yes,
advice
exactly.
in the future, not only publication, anything you do, make sure you have a look at the copyright. When you publish your paper, there are a few things in copyright you should not violate. So you cannot, as example, upload the paper, the whole paper in web size, because you already gave the copyright to the publisher. So this is a violation. Make sure not to. And you cannot publish the same paper again because it's already published. Okay? Build on the paper. New results, new experimental setup, new cases. We'll come up with something new. You go ahead and publish it. But the same paper, you should not violate. Any copyright should be respected. You should not violate it. Yeah.
Excellent, Prof. Actually, is there any question? Anybody would like to ask a question? Walaikum salam.
Alaikum salam.
Mohammed, how are you? First of all, I want to thank Dr. Hussein for this interesting session. I want to ask a question related to the trendy topic in research, which is using AI in our research activities. From your opinion, what are the limitations or boundaries through which we can use AI in our research?
Okay. Now we live in the era of AI. 30 November 2022, when the OpenAI, the first AI launched online, and the world totally changed. So the time before and after totally different. And as you mentioned, it's become a trend today. AI in medicine, AI in engineering, AI in energy, AI in social studies, and so on. Yeah, that's right. But we don't want to have the same experience of COVID publications. In COVID time, because it's trained, anything you publish about COVID will be accepted. This is what people think. So how COVID affect the tools in factory, how COVID affect our lunch, how COVID affect, no, this is not the right way. It's supposed to be AI really engaged and useful to your research. Otherwise, we should not go for AI. We can use AI as a tool while we are doing research, but it not need to be part of the title of the problem statement of the objectives. If it is directly part of the title, okay. But if it is not, we should not put AI, because this will at the end give wrong message to people. So let's make sure that AI really serve. And by the way, part of the AI is a prediction. Everybody can use AI for a prediction today. Classification, as example, see the trend using AI. So this is good. Why not? Why not? Yeah.
أحسنت بروف. أحسنت. Thank you so much, Dr. Khalid, for your question. توقع وصلنا إلى النهاية. I just would like to say a few words. Thank you so much, Professor Hussein, for the excellent and valuable workshop. On behalf of Al Sharqiya University and the Learning Resource Center and all participants, I would like to express our sincere appreciation for your time, effort, and valuable contribution today. I would like also to thank all participants who attended this workshop. We hope this workshop has been useful and inspiring for everyone. Thank you so much again, Professor Hussein. We are honored to have you today. With this,
Thank you for having
we conclude our online workshop. Thank you all, and I wish you all a pleasant day. شكرا جزيلا بروف، واحسنتوا على ايديك. تسلم، الله
شكرا
يحفظك.
جزيلا، الله يعطيكم الصحة.
الله يخليك
شكرا
بروف.
شكرا.
شكرا
يومكم سعيد.
جزيلا.
مع
في امان الله،
السلامة.
مع السلامة.
في امان الله، مع السلامة.